The collapse of the airspace boundary means that high-altitude platforms, ballistic trajectories, and low-orbit assets now operate under direct interception risk. Published on December 18, 2025, Russia answered that question decisively. During a Ministry of Defense Board meeting, Defense Minister Andrei Belousov confirmed what Western analysts had debated for years. The S-500 Prometheus has officially entered combat duty, not testing, not trials, not parade duty. It meant to arrive on combat duty. This was not a routine announcement. It marked the first real-world activation of Russia's most advanced air and missile defense system, a platform designed not only to intercept aircraft or cruise missiles, but to dominate the vertical battle space from treetop level to the edge of space. With this move, Moscow effectively erased the traditional line separating air defense from strategic missile defense, signaling a structural shift in how modern wars will be defended, not fought. The S-500's deployment comes amid intensifying NATO-Ukraine strike pressure, particularly the expanding use of ATACMS and Storm Shadow missiles against Crimea and deep rear area infrastructure. Against this backdrop, Prometheus is not a weapon of escalation, but a weapon of denial, built to make premium Western strike assets inefficient, risky, and ultimately expendable. The road to December 2025 began earlier. In December 2024, Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov announced the formation of the first S-500 Regiment. At the time, skeptics dismissed it as bureaucratic signaling. Then came August 225, when Ukrainian drones struck the 98L-6 Yenisei radar associated with the system in Crimea. That incident was not a setback. It was a stress test. Russia repaired, reinforced, and proceeded. By December, the S-500 was integrated into a newly established anti-missile air defense division, positioned above existing S-400 layers. This was not an upgrade, it was a new tier altogether. The message was unmistakable. Russia was no longer content with defending against aircraft and cruise missiles alone. It was preparing for near-space warfare. Calling the S-500 a successor to the S-400 misses the point entirely. Developed by Almaz-Antey, Prometheus is a fundamentally different system. Its radar architecture centered around the GAN-based 98L-6 Yenisei, including hypersonic glide vehicles and ballistic missile warheads. Its reaction time, measured at 3 to 4 seconds, is less than half that of the S-400. In modern missile defense, seconds are not a metric, they are survival. The Interceptor suite tells an even clearer story. The 77N6N missile is designed for hit-to-kill engagements in the terminal phase, targeting ICBM warheads, hypersonic vehicles, and high-speed ballistic threats without relying on proximity fragmentation. Its engagement envelope stretches up to 600 kilometers in range and 200 kilometers in altitude, pushing firmly into low Earth orbit territory. This is not air defense. This is near-space denial. Western ISR platforms, high-altitude drones, and satellite-guided strike chains now operate under a new constraint. Visibility no longer guarantees survivability. While Moscow has not officially disclosed deployment coordinates, all indicators point toward Crimea and the Kerch Strait region as the S-500's first operational zone. Strategically, the choice is obvious. Crimea has been subjected to repeated long-range strike attempts, enabled by NATO reconnaissance, satellite cueing, and precision-guided munitions. The S-500 does not just intercept incoming threats, it protects the entire defensive ecosystem. S-400 batteries, Pantsir point defenses, command centers, air bases, and logistics hubs all benefit from its upper-tier coverage. Most importantly, the S-500 is not linked to Russia's offensive missile operations. It does not launch Kinzhals. It does not fire Iskanders. It shields the infrastructure that allows Russia to operate without fear of decapitation strikes. This distinction matters. By hardening Crimea against saturation attacks, Moscow reduces escalation pressure while forcing Ukraine and its sponsors into costlier, riskier strike planning. Saturation becomes the only viable option, and saturation is expensive. The S-500's combat activation also functions as a strategic rebuttal to Western hypersonic ambitions. Programs like the US AGM-183A air-launched rapid response weapon have struggled with reliability, while existing systems such as Patriot and NASAMS have suffered visible attrition in Ukraine. THAAD, often cited as a counterpart, remains a narrow exo-atmospheric interceptor with no air defense capability and limited mobility. Aegis and SM-3 systems are powerful, but tied to naval platforms and fixed architectures. The S-500 is different. It is mobile. It is layered. It is a dual role. This versatility complicates NATO strike planning. Any operation targeting high-value Russian assets must now account for suppression of enemy air defenses and destruction of enemy air defenses missions against a system designed to survive them. Resources must be diverted. Timelines stretch. Risk multiplies. In prolonged conflicts, that equation favors the defender. The activation of the S-500 does not arrive as spectacle. It arrives as geometry. The sky is no longer layered by assumption, but by control. Altitude has stopped being a refuge, and distance has stopped being a guarantee. Every trajectory now enters a monitored corridor. Every climb exposes a window of interception, and every orbit carries consequence. Where earlier air defenses waited for threats to descend, Prometheus reached upward. Ballistic arcs are engaged before momentum peaks. Hypersonic vehicles lose the privilege of invisibility. Low-orbit platforms operate under continuous tracking pressure, their role in targeting and cueing no longer abstract, but directly contestable. Above the peninsula, the vertical space compresses. Surveillance platforms operate closer to thresholds. Queuing chains shorten. The margin for error shrinks. Speed remains high, but certainty erodes. Every high-altitude solution now carries a question mark, and every low-altitude alternative accepts exposure elsewhere. The deployment does not signal the end of long-range warfare. It signals its complication. Precision becomes conditional. Altitude becomes hazardous. Orbit becomes relevant. The battlefield extends upward, and the margin for error disappears with it. So, what are your thoughts on this? Share it below. Until then, thanks for watching.